thread of life. I have this whole concept on the thread of life. It's probably going to be my next book. And the thread of life is kind of this thing where we start off at life very protected, hopefully, sheltered, loved, nurtured, bonded, and we have this innocence of life. I've written a poem about it also. It's called The Symphony in the Key of Oneness. It's at the back of my book. Um, and we have this symphony that is created at the beginning of our life. That's a beautiful symphony, and everything just connects so perfectly, and life just becomes this unfolding piece of feelings and emotions that carry us into the next phase. And then the next phase occurs, and on the next phase, we find ourselves finding these, I call them nodules. You know how you get those little plastic wrap things that we like to pop? You step on them, they pop and they make all that noise. So we get we start getting the nodules of life. And that starts creating these are the things that start twisting us or turning us or causing us to start having some questions about life. And sometimes those nodules begin to grow into some things that are much larger, and they become very cumbersome, and it makes it very difficult for us to figure out the next phase.
That's right.
And sometimes it becomes very large because something traumatic has occurred. And those nodules take over the whole thread. And all of the things that we had at the beginning of that thread become consumed by that huge nodule. And it changes our lives and takes us to different places. And forgiveness is one of those emotions or one of those healing feelings that we have to get through and pop that nodules, push those nodules down, make those nodules smaller, make them more bearable and more usable. Those nodules are our challenges in life. They sometimes become our toxicities in life.
That's right.
So what we have to do is understand our thread of life, right? We have to go back. And sometimes, everyone says kind of like, we got to get through this. And we do need to get through it. But emotionally, we need to get through the nodules of life. Because here's an example. I have a real difficult time in my life when I want to say something to someone and I can't, they ignore me, or they don't see me, or they don't call on me, or they don't acknowledge me. Not that I need to be like, oh, Dr. Celina's here. No, it's not about that at all. It's about, I just want to be part of it. And if I can't be part of it because people are trying to hold me back because they don't want to hear from me or whatever the case might be, I get really twisted. Because, one day I said, Celina, why does that, and people don't know I'm twisted because it happens inside of me. And I'm like, how come that bothers you so much, Celina? Why is it that when, there are other people there, they were talking, why does it bother you so much? I went back through my thread of life, and I went back to a place where I was not recognized, seen, and I was ignored, and I was not valued. And that became something that's traveled through my thread of life, and it's been in those little nodules that were popped up and come up every now and then. When I get to a situation like that, that nodule pops right back up. So we have to look at our thread of life because it starts back there.
That's right.
It starts back there. And we have to go through a process. And one of my keys that you talked about at Sunday is my second key, which is restore. And in my restoration key, you have to forgive.
That's right. Very important. Very, very important.
And you talked about that. You talked about forgiving. And that was a very phenomenal sermon you gave last Sunday.
But Dr. Celina, sorry to cut you. Another important thing that come to my mind is that sometimes it's not necessary for you to forgive others. Some of us need to forgive ourselves.
Yeah. First, right?
Yes, because sometimes, we find ourselves in a situation that we don't know how we get there, and we end up blaming everybody for everything, and we forget that we are the cause of everything. Until we get to that time in our life that we can say, you know what, I need to forgive me. I need to begin to take care of me. I need to begin to love me. Because if you don't really take care of yourself, I don't think you can take care of others. or you can forgive others if you've not really forgive yourself. And
the trick to this is, how do we get people to do that? When you're in pain and you're laying in your bed and you don't want to get out of it, or your heart's beating and racing so fast and you don't know how you're going to get to the next moment, how do you get to the point where we get some people that really understand that they're valued? They were born valued, and the nodules took some of that value away. And now they need to get back to that place where they can find that forgiveness.
That's right.
Because here's what happens, I think what happens is when that first nodule pops up on our thread of life, and then we see, oh, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. Then we make another mistake, because now it's like, well, I'm already damaged. What the heck? People already know I did that. So what does it matter if I do something else that's, and then it compounds.
That's right.
So how much forgiveness you have to go through to get to that first forgiveness. And really, you don't. You need to just forgive.
That's right.
You just need to forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. We all do some horrible things in life. Some of us worse than others. Some of us much less. But we got to go back and just forgive ourselves. Because at birth, we were forgiven.
There is something that I believe that God put in every one of us.
Yes.
God's put what they call instinct in us. That everybody is born with something inside of you that God has put there for greatness. You just know that something good is going to happen to you, but you don't know how. You just know that, I just know I'm going to be great. I know I'm going to drive a car one day. But you don't even have a car.
Yes.
But you just know one day I'm going to drive a car. There is an instinct in you. And
That's
probably
right.
you've been driving, trying to get your driving license. Have you been failing?
Are you telling your story, Pastor? Is this your story, Pastor? Okay, go ahead.
You know,
go ahead.
And you believe you're going to drive a car. You know, you have an instinct in you. And that also comes to, like, you must believe in yourself first before you can allow others to believe in you. The moment you begin to believe in yourself, you have confidence in that thing within you, it's going to produce results
Exactly.
that will become visible to everybody.
Exactly.
Because one of the things that is causing a lot of people problem is because they have not actually believed in who they are.
Exactly.
They want everybody to tell, oh, you look beautiful. No, you got to look at the mirror and say, I look great. You don't have to tell me if I look great or not. You must believe in yourself.
Exactly.
The moment you begin to believe in yourself, then you begin to discover that the purpose of God
amen.
for your life will begin to come to manifestation. What do you want to say to that, Doctor?
Well, in my book, I write about bridging passions with mishaps. And funny about believing in yourself, because for many years I didn't believe in myself. And you read about my story in my book. And because for many years, from 8 years old till 20 some odd years old, early 30s, I didn't believe in myself. But God believed in me.
Amen.
And he kept pushing me through all of the darkness that I climbed and crawled through and peeped out of. And then I started to think, wow, I can do that.
That's right.
I was like, wow. But in my book, I talk about bridging passions with mishaps. This is actually a curriculum I had written many years ago. And, God does funny things, because my daughter will say, and Chantal, I know you're listening, that, Mom, you're writing another thing? What are you going to do next? You write it, then you don't use it. But God said, no, write it and save it. I got you to use it that later. I wrote this 4 or 5 years ago. I'm using it now. In my book, I talk about bridging passions with mishaps, because we're born with our passions. So, and God gifted me with my mishaps. So my mishaps are all those life challenges that I went through.
That's right.
All of those traumas that I endured. And you know what God said? He said, I have to put you to work early. I need to let you learn these lessons now, because you'll have the strength to use them later.
That's right.
Your passions, my passions, was watching people. I am a people watcher since I was a little girl. Never knew what it was going to grow into. God said, Let me teach you how to use your gift. And he taught me my lessons, and I learned them personally. Some of them were very painful. But when I came through that darkness into that light, into my purpose to do what I do today, little old Celina Pina, God blessed me with those passions.
Amen.
Bridging passions with mishaps. So we look at our darknesses and we're so depressed. We're so anxious. We can't know how we're going to make it through the next day.
That's right.
Oh, I really wanted to do that, but no, it's not going to happen. Nothing that good ever happens for me. Oh, I need to move forward, but won't happen, I'm sure. But if you put faith in in what God has given you, in that gift, the gift that came at the beginning of that thread of life, it's there. Once you clean it out, you'll get to bridging those things that cause you pain with those things that came at birth, and they'll come together and make glory.
Do you know, as you're talking, I was just looking at some of those experiences that we also go through in life is like a lesson.
Yeah.
It's like a school that you're in a
Yeah.
training school
Yeah.
for what God wants to do in your life that we
Yes.
don't even have a clue. But at that
Yes.
moment when we're going through all those
Yes.
situations, it's so painful.
Yes.
We feel so hungry that
Yes.
sometimes at that point everybody don't talk to you. You just discover all your friends are not calling you again. It make me remember when you're in an exam test, when you want to write an exam, the place is quiet. Nobody talking in
Exactly.
an exam hall.
Exactly.
I think that time in our life is a time God is actually testing us for what He wants to do. And you say something, there's something you have written down for 5 years and it's in your book, because at that time you're going through those things and God wants you to go through it so you can share your story with others that are going through the same thing. So through your story, they can receive their healing and freedom.
Exactly. And, I think we have to think about, some of us have really dark stories and some of us don't, but we all have a story. We all have an emotional intrusion. We all do. There's no way that anyone of us, we got divorced, that's an emotional intrusion. We got loss of loved ones. We have having a bad car accident. We have not doing well in school, whatever, losing our dog. Somebody stealing my little red bike at 3 years old. Those are emotional intrusions, and they can cause a buildup, or they can just cause enough that is painful for you. So don't think, oh my God, I got to go through a trauma in order to get that lesson. No, there's lessons in everything that we do.
That's right.
You need to learn how to draw from positive experiences. However, let's think about positive experiences for a minute. So, how do we know that it's really positive for us? So, I've had many people who've kind of guided and directed. I'm sure we all have, right? You have too. And I know your story. Coming from Nigeria, and what your dreams were, and
That's
how your
right.
dreams and how you maintained that. And there's certain people that do help us, and positive influences are very important if they're really positive in our corner and pulling us forward. It's so meaningful. That's feeding the heart. And when you feed the heart, and let me tell you a story. I was 8 years old. My father lived in New York. I was born in New York. And my father was in New York, and he put me on a bus from New Bedford to New York.
Wow.
By myself. And there was a woman that sat next to me. I didn't know who she was, and I was scared because I had never been on a bus by myself. But she sat next to me, and she was an angel. I know she was an angel. She was beautiful, and I kept on looking at her as 8 years old, and I can see it through my eyes right now, saying, she's so pretty. She looked like she was maybe German or Swedish or something, and she was so sweet, and she was so nice to me. And she gave me such soothing words. And during those times, the bus would stop at a place, and you could go and get a sandwich or whatever, something out of a store, because they would stop so you could eat, because it was a long haul, because it wasn't highways. I'm not that old, but And I remember she influenced my life. She got off that bus and I missed her. And do you know, I still think about her. I don't know who she was or where she came from, but she was one of those positive influences that made me think that travel is good.
Wow.
That people can be kind, even people who don't look like you. So positive influences from to the heart, oh my God, they'll move you, they'll shake you.
Dr. Celina, I, as you're talking about the boss, for 5 years, I think I've said this all over and over again. I was living on a mountain, on a rock.
Yes, please
in,
tell
in,
us.
in Africa.
Yes.
I was living on a rock, no bathroom, no toilets. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
But I just believe something in my spirit that
Yes.
something good is going to happen in my life.
Yes.
I don't know how.
Yes.
I just believe that something good is going to happen in my life. In fact, one day I was taking a shower and something just spoke to me. I know this is God that's speaking to me that day. Say, I'm going to open a door for you. You're going to travel all over the world. I was like, me? How can I travel all over the world? I'm living in this one small room. How am I going to get a ticket? How am I going to get a visa to travel? I was just like, this is impossible. But I just keep my positive mind and also believe that if God says something to us, it will come to pass. And I was faithful to Him. I was doing what I need to do. I was doing things right. And I find myself in the United States. And to God be the glory. I just give the glory to God. I've traveled to a few countries that I was like, wow. And these are the countries that I write down. And I wrote them down that I'm going to travel to all this country. And half of those countries, I've been there. And if you believe in yourself and if you don't give up, on God-given purpose for your life. I say it again, God-given purpose for your life, because I know God have a purpose for us. I'm excited because this is what we have a meeting last week when we're talking and we talk about this. Yes. And this we talk about it as like a dream.
I know.
And we say, oh, it's going to happen. It's like, okay, we're going to see how it's going to happen. And I'm seeing it getting bigger. Yes. Because we're actually reaching out to people in California, and it's very exciting. I'm very excited too as well, because we're reaching out to everybody, reaching out to different kind of people. For my question is that what is before I forget the question, what is the passion that actually make you go through your field as a doctor, your field where as
you know
practice?
What? Can I just tell you just really quickly about? So you have to remember. So when you read my book is an international bestseller, by the way. And I've also written a curriculum right now. So train to train a curriculum where I can train others in trauma of emotional healing. And I've become known as the ambassador of emotional health. So now let me just tell you this. When I was born, God blessed me with a passion for observing behavior. When I was staring at people, I wasn't staring at people because I was being a negative stare. It was a curiosity stare.
So what is the curiosity
stare
that you see about me?
Oh, you want to know? Okay. I'm going to tell you what I think about you. When I first met you, we fell in love with you.
Amen.
Because you were real.
Amen.
And you would sit with us every week. Remember?
I remember every
Wednesday night. We sat in that room on that table and we would talk about God. And we would share stories and we would get upset about the world and want to cure everything. And you were real and you are real and you're passionate. Even about getting his driver's license. That's another story because we never thought he'd get his driver's license. But this is a man who came off that rock in Nigeria and has created a journey of healing for people. Amen. And that's what I see in you.
Amen.
And I thank you for that.
We thank God.
We thank God. Glory. My passion, so I came with this passion, and then I went through my lessons, and then in my book, it tells you that, I was raped at 16. And so who better to become a sexual abuse expert than somebody who's been through the lessons? So I never thought I would be anyone or anything because I pretty much dropped out of high school. I went back and finished, and I graduated with the 2 years after me. I pretty much never went to middle school because I was in depression because my mom and dad divorced. So all those lessons, somehow I found the strength to get through those lessons and teach myself to move up, to teach myself to become who God intended me to be. And somehow I believed and had faith enough in God to be led by Him. And this is why I'm here today. And my passion is people. My training is trauma. My love is healing. So I'm doing everything I love. So all the suffering I did those years, it can't compare to what I'm experiencing, what the gifts are today. These are our innate gifts. My book is about going through that process of my 5 keys: cleansing, restoring, clarifying, renewing, and rejuvenating and transforming, so that you can get to your innate gifts. Our innate gifts were given to us at birth.
That's right.
And they're there waiting for us to access. But if we stay blocked, stopped, or flatline, we'll never get to the full force of it.
That's
I'm
right.
not even there yet because I'm a late bloomer. So I'm really waiting for God to give me the rest. And I'm just enjoying this journey right now. And I thank God that I'm able to sit here with you.
Amen.
And do this together.
Amen.
Amen.
I've been talking about this for a long time, about scar. Like if somebody go to the hospital and have an operation and you have a surgery, there's a place that there's, the stitch. Though you're fine, but the stitch is there. Sometimes in life, we can go through some things in our life that when you look at those things, they become like, oh, I don't want to let go. Oh, look at what this has done. Look at what this person has done to me. Look at what this. No, we need to let go of the past so that you can have peace of mind. You need to let go of the people that have caused you pain. They don't know who you are. You are important. You are special. You are beautiful. You are a kind person. Don't let anything bring you down. Sometimes give excuse for some things. Even if you know that people are lying to you, just find an excuse for them and move forward.
Move forward.
Because if you don't move forward, you're going to find yourself stagnated. You're just in the same place. You're not going forward. You're not going backward. You're not achieving anything. Don't let anybody bring you down. We believe in you. We believe in your vision. We believe in your goal. And we want healing for your heart. Did you have anything to say, contribute to that?
I think that, again, as Paulo Paez from California said, that we need to fill ourselves. Positive influences and resources are important. And when we allow those negative influences to succumb us, it's interesting because people sometimes live in environments that they can't help. And sometimes in those environments, there's lots of pain, like, things that are not going well, or very traumas that are occurring in the middle of their streets, in front of their homes, or in their stores. So, sometimes we're surrounded by things that are just painful, all the time, and we can't change it. We don't have the power to move it. We don't have the ability to make it look better. So sometimes we have to find a way to get away from it. We can be in it because we have to be there. But there's so many other places and things and people that we can associate with to kind of take the edge off of it.
That's right. That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So we have to find, when it gets to the point where we have no other outlet, there, I always think of New York, because New York, and I love Harlem. And I think about, whenever I'm in Harlem, there's people that are suffering there in the streets. Some people are homeless. Some people are, they have some mental health issues going on, whatever. But there's always a program in that town, in that city, that kids can go to, or at the park, or a wonderful program
That's right.
that's right there in the community, that they can go to a community hall and get some good stuff. And there's always free things there for the families to go and learn from, or do art, or do drama, or do something exciting that can curtail the painfulness of where they have to live. And we have to understand those negativities.
That's right.
But we don't have to absorb them. We don't have to allow them in to where they start to change us. We could try to help it, work with it, find resources for it, make it a positive journey, rather than live in the pains and toils of what's going on around you. Right? You think?
That's very, very on point. Because if we can connect with the people that they are positive, I find this all the time, and it bothered me that you'll find people going through something, and all the people they are hanging around with are negative people. So if you're hanging around with somebody with negativity, there's nothing important that person can give to you. It's going to create a negative atmosphere around you.
Exactly.
Why can't you begin to bring close to you people that will create the positive atmosphere? Even with our children.
Yes.
Even with our children. And I'm looking forward to a time where activity like this can be easy for children to go in for. Because some people don't even have $50 to put their children into basketball.
Of course. No, exactly. And that's nothing I don't understand, is that we want to help the world. We want people to do better. We want kids to have more experiences. But the prices are so expensive that even those of us who are working can't sometimes afford it. So yeah. So that's why, like here, your church, your church doors are open. I have a friend in New York, Carol Doherty, who's a pastor in Queens, and her church doors are open. And I have another people, Linda Williams in New York, her church doors are open. And Jackie Jones, who's a pastor in New York, her church doors are open. So if you can't find a place to go to a church. The church doors are open, and you can find programs and help and just somebody to talk to if you need to. So church doors are open if you can't find anything else in your community. But yes, you don't need to fill yourself with negativity, because it turns you into negativity, and it causes more emotional imbalances, because lots of times it picks up on the stuff that's on your thread of life. And it brings you right on back to that very first nodule, and you find yourself saying, why am I so bothered by this? And if you look at the picture that you're looking at here, and you take it back on that thread, you'll find out where it began.
That's right.
And that's where you start putting it out. You pop that, and that's where you start putting it out. You have to just look at things. We have to look at our stories. We have to look at our surroundings. We have to unload our emotions. And our heart is the best place to start with that.
Our heart is the best place to start, because our heart is a treasure of our life.
Yes.
Our life, our heart is important. I always say this: when the devil messes with your life, with your heart, he has met with your life. Because our life is a treasure of our life. So our heart is the best place. It's what you stock in your heart that will reflect on the outward.
So here's a little heart exercise you can do. I've been reading a lot up on heart math. It's a technique from the heart, and so it's about breathing into your heart. So you find your heart, you know where your heart is, and you breathe into it. Deep breath, and you go into your heart, And as you're going into your heart, have yourself feeling positive images. I always think of my father and I swimming on Martha's Vineyard in the lagoon, and him swimming under the water and pulling my feet over to the shallow because it was too deep for me to swim. And that's a feeling that gives me gratitude and gives me peace of mind and gives me love. And I breathe that into my heart. You breathe it into your heart, and you just look at the fact, and you feel grateful. You find something that makes you feel grateful. Because here's what the heart does. The heart sends the message to the brain, and the brain gets the message from the heart, and the brain gets to make some adjustments. The brain does not send messages to the heart. The heart sends messages to the brain. So the heart is a very powerful organ. Not only that, the heart will what's the word? It will protrude its energy 3 feet outside of your body. So whatever you're feeling, I'm picking up on it. So if I come to your house and you're in a moody mood, I'm going to be there. Eventually I'm going to get moody too. And we're going to have a very good time. Breathe into your heart. Breathe gratitude into your heart. Do those exercises all day long. Eventually, your brain will get the message of gratitude and peace.
That's very powerful. It's the attitude of gratitude. The attitude of gratitude. It's very, very important for us to have that. The attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
Because sometimes when we don't have the attitude of gratitude, it makes us complain. But when we breathe into our heart the attitude of gratitude, like, I don't deserve this. I don't have to have this, but God just look at me out of everybody, out of millions and thousands and billions of people, and do this for me. It's not because I merit it. It's not because I work hard for it. And that will create an ability in us to be able to have the attitude of gratitude and thanking God for what we have not seen that He has given to us.
I like that. That's your next Sunday sermon.
Amen. The attitude of gratitude is very important. Thanking Him for little things. Because when you breathe in that, Lord, I thank you. I can eat breakfast this morning. Some people are in the hospital. I'm not better than them.
Right.
But I'm in my sofa. I'm watching the TV, though. It's cold. Some people are outside. They are homeless. But you're not homeless. You're staying warm. We are 5 degrees today. It's cold. And some people are outside, but you're not cold. But you still complain about little things that doesn't make sense. Like because you went to Burger King and they didn't make your burger well. You're mad.
Yeah, exactly.
We should create an attitude of gratitude.